Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports, and coming up here on today's show, we're going to be looking at some Raiders training camp winners and losers so far. The Silver and Black are off today, and as you guys can see, I'm off as well, but I was sitting last night with Graphic Raider celebrating birthday. Shout out to Ruben, an amazing time set up by your wife. And I got here today, and I started thinking let's give the nation some winners and losers from camp so far, and it's essentially just from that first week with all the veterans reporting there, realistically starting on Tuesday. I'll 100% say that take everything that we have seen so far with a grain of salt, because until the pads truly come on, you don't get the best sense of where players are going to go and whatnot. The pads will come on this upcoming Tuesday, August 1st, which is going to be something that I know Jugs and I are really excited for. To make sure that you never miss any news or updates around the Las Vegas Raiders, make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on those notifications. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to start with my winners and losers on the offensive side of the football, and then I'm going to go through some winners and losers on the defense. I have notes that I have just tallied up from the past 5 days of practice, and that's essentially how I have come together with this list here. Obviously, if you agree, disagree, as always, please support the show. Hit that like button and drop those thoughts and comments down below. All right, let's go to the winners first. I'm going to give one of the big winners here for the Raiders is running back Zamir White. And one of the biggest reasons why he is a winner is because Josh Jacobs has still not signed that franchise tag, and White is taking the most of the opportunity that he's the top running back if Jacobs isn't in that backfield. Amir Abdullah has looked good. Brandon Bolden is mainly just a leader at this point. I like Sincere McCormick, but out of all of those backs, I continue to hear that Zamir came into camp motivated. He's in really good shape, and he's taking advantage of that extra time that Jacobs isn't on the field. Next player that I'm going to name here as a winner is Dylan Parham. And last offseason, Parham was probably at 290 pounds. He got sick, which was right before camp in the regular season, if some of y'all remember that. And now he's up to 315, 320 pounds, and sounds like it's really good weight. A lot of my friends that I talk to that are Raiders players are mainly on the offensive line, and when the Raiders drafted Parham, they loved his ability to play multiple positions, whether it be center, he played right tackle, he can play right guard, he can play left guard. He looks motivated, he looks mean and angry out there, he's in really good shape, and I'm excited to see what the second year has in store for Dylan Parham. Next player I'm going to bring up here is Jakobi Meyers, and when the Raiders signed Meyers this offseason to that 3-year, $33 million, now they have restructured his contract a little bit. But people forget, how big some of these athletes are. And when you have a receiver like Meyers who's legit 6'3", 215 pounds, and can move the way that he does, he can run the routes that he does. But then on top of that, you add him to the mix with Josh McDaniels and really being able to help get this second year going. Y'all know that I'm not the biggest McDaniels believer, but I watch every single press conference with Josh, and if you haven't realized, doesn't McDaniels just look so much calmer, more at ease, his mind doesn't look like it's racing 1,000,000 miles per hour, and it's because one of the reports out there, and I talked to some of the players, and they'll tell me it's just a lot easier this year. Going into that second year, everybody's just kind of getting the things going. And Jakobi Meyers, from what it sounds like, he looks like he's that dude. Another receiver that we're going to talk about is Hunter Renfrow, right? I mean, we were talking about trade rumors. We were talking about this team moving on from them when they signed DeAndre Carter, when they brought in Jakobi Meyers, when they drafted Trey Tucker at number 100 overall in the NFL draft. It sounds like Renfrow is putting it together a little bit, and he's also an adult. He's also growing up and realized that last season he didn't have the year that he was hoping for. And when you have 36 catches and the year before that you're over 100, sure, he was a bigger part of the offense in 2021 with Derek Carr, and a lot of that was due to injuries and the Henry Ruggs situation. But right now, Renfrow looks motivated. He's rocking around with a chip on his shoulder, and McDaniels said one of the things that they tried to do this offseason is add a lot of competition. I mean, there's 11 wide receivers in that room. And I know for a fact that Renfrow right now is being oh man, I'm feeling the pressure here a little bit. So this is what I want to do. I'm always about interacting with the commenters down below. So my question to all of you out there is, I want you to give me a training camp winner so far. I got 3 more names coming up after this YouTube ad break, but if you could, scroll on down and let me know a training camp winner so far on the offensive side of the football. All right, let's go to the next name here. It's Davante Adams, and I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. Davante's that dude, and he's just really freaking incredible player. There's no doubt about it. He's one of the best wide receivers in the league. Reporters that I've talked to, he's not coverable. It's not that the cornerbacks for this team's not doing well. It's just Davante, 31. He wants to be a Raider. He said that he wants to retire a Raider. For that reason, he's a winner in my book. Let's go to the tight end here. I'm going to go Michael Mayer. And one of the things that I've stated before is sometimes it takes a year or two for a young tight end to get acclimated to the NFL level. And a lot of that has more to do with the blocking aspect side of it and the mental game, because Mayer's a good athlete. He's going to be able to catch the football, but he's such a well-rounded tight end where he's going to get some opportunities. I have stated before that I think in terms of catching the football, Austin Hooper is going to make a bigger impact in that regard. But Mayer's making a case for himself where he's probably going to end up with more snaps. I know Garappolo has always relied on the tight end position, but just the size of Mayer, like the broad shoulders, I mean, he just looks like a lot bigger of a human being than a lot of those other players out there. A mountain of a man, and Mayer continues to impress. The final winner is Jimmy Garoppolo. And I know there's going to be some people out there like, how is Jimmy a winner? The fact that Jimmy showed up and practiced the very first day he was supposed to practice, that's a win in my book. When you're starting quarterback, one of the biggest question marks you had around him was, how's the foot? Is he going to be healthy? And yeah, he looks a little rusty right now. It's also the very first few days of practice. But the thing that I look at is not so much the execution right away, because, again, it's the first week of practice. It's the mental aspect side of it. When you got Maxx Crosby saying that he's talking trash in terms of Garappolo, he's bringing that swagger. I want a quarterback that instills confidence in every single person around him and can carry that as a leader. He's already weighing in with Josh McDaniels and having certain things that he wants to be put into the offense, which I think is a very interesting thing, because if you remember last season, Derek Carr flat out said that, he didn't have that ability and Josh wouldn't give him that ability. Maybe Josh trusts Garappolo a little bit more. Maybe Derek wasn't telling the full story. I don't know, but all I know is it looks like that marriage is already working out a lot better. And I think it's one of the reasons why McDaniels, when he goes up there to those press conferences, it looks like there's a huge weight off his shoulders. Like, all right, it's running a lot more smoothly right now. But the fact that Garoppolo's out there, that, to me, makes him a winner. Now let's talk about some of the losers on the offensive side of the football, and then we'll get to the winners and losers on defense. Biggest loser this entire offseason for the Raiders is Josh Jacobs. He continues to think that he has leverage. If he's turning down $12 million deals, if Jonathan Taylor requested a trade and he's asking for 16, it's just simply not going to happen. We know what the running back market is. I hope he is out there week 1. But the more and more time he misses out on training camp, the more and more time he misses out, it might not really impact it at the end of the day. But if I know teammates and I know people, like when I used to play professional or college sports, I played college, but professional baseball in Germany is far from the NFL. But I was just saying, like, when you're in there grinding with your guys, like, I want to know that my guys always have my back. And yeah, they have his back in terms of money, but there's no way that every single Raiders player doesn't want him out on the field, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Plus, Jacobs is losing, I don't want to say credibility. He's losing some of the relationships, I guess, with fans. The amount of fans that I've talked to that are really starting to kind of be like, all right, Josh, like, we're done with the pettiness. Like, I get you're upset, but like $12 million is more than enough money for you to feel secure for 1 year. Does he want extra years? Yes. Does he want more guarantees? Yes. But who doesn't? $12 million is more than enough. Another loser here is Austin Walter, and it's the simple fact of he's just not nearly as talented as the other running backs. He's been doing some good stuff in special teams, but Walter has a 0% chance to make this roster, and he might not even make the practice squad. The final loser here that I have on the offensive side of the football is Alex Bars, and it was really hard. And really, it's difficult to find losers during training camp because this is the time of the year where it's more positivity, unless you're Vic Tafer, who just seems like a grumpy old man, get off my lawn with every report he puts out. But this is like the time of the season where, guys are getting hyped up here a little bit. And for Bars, the reason why I have him as a loser is McClendon Curtis has looked pretty damn good. You got some other offensive linemen showing that they are maturing and growing within this system. The Tane Moody has shown that he's done a pretty solid job from what I understand. But Barr started last season, and he's not going to start this season. So because of that, I have him as a loser. All right, y'all, if you don't already know, you can always hit me up on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. Try to keep you guys up to date as humanly possible in terms of Raiders training camp news, any other kind of breaking stuff, but that's probably the easiest way to find and contact with me on social media. All right, let's go to the defensive side of the football now. I'm going to go with Marcus Peters, signed right before Raiders training camp started on the 24th, and is already getting his feet wet pretty remarkably. He's working as a number one on the outside, and I just think he's going to be the starting corner for this team. Patrick Graham loves what he's bringing from a leadership standpoint and also being able to force turnovers. Another winner to me is Amik Robertson. Amik's got it's an uphill battle for him, and he knows it. But all the reports that are coming out right now is that he looks tenacious, he's carrying a chip on his shoulder, and he's going out there and competing. One of the examples I made earlier in the week about Amik is it kind of reminds me of the whole Lester Cotton situation from last season. And what do I mean by that? Well, right now Amik's working as he's getting some starting reps in the slot, which screams to me that they're probably going to put Nate Hobbs as your starting inside slot once he comes back from his eye injury, which should be this upcoming week. But in terms of Amik getting that opportunity, he's working with the ones. And that's what the Raiders did last season with Lester Cotton to kind of see how he was going to end up fitting, I think, with a lot of the starters, and ultimately did not make the team. But I do think that Robertson is impressing some people out there. And if he continues to battle, like I've said before, that I see this team keeping 6 cornerbacks on their roster. If Amik's going out there and balling out, and even a guy like Sam Webb, those two guys are adding a lot of really good competition to that room, and typically the Raiders will carry 5 to 6 corners. I'm almost wondering if this upcoming season they're going to look at it and be like, maybe we should keep 7. Maybe we can drop an offensive lineman. Maybe we don't need to keep 6 running backs or a fullback like we did last season. Maybe we can shed a little bit of room on the linebacker room and go with an extra DB. It's going to be really interesting to see because that cornerback room right now is very competitive. Let's go to another winner here. It's Jakorian Bennett. He might be the biggest winner on the defensive side of the football. He is a legit shot to start on the outside. Now, I'm a big Duke Shelley fan. I think Duke Shelley is a hell of a competitor. I think he's great at press man. But Jakorian has really shown his athletic ability. He's shown his toughness. But he's also shown that he can do it up here. The Raiders drafted Bennett out of Maryland because of his ability to play man coverage. He was one of the best man cover cornerbacks last season with the Maryland Terrapins, and it's already showing on the field. And when you're a player that just has the God-given ability that he does, the speed that he does, he might be the fastest player on the Raiders. Like, if we lined up the 10 fastest guys on that team and you said go, and who can run 50 yards the fastest, or I guess maybe we should just stick with 40 yards, I don't know. I think it's Jakorian Bennett. He's that athletic, and he's that freaking special. The speed, you simply can't teach it. Another winner here on the defensive side of the football is Adam Plant Jr., and for those of you that have been following the show, if you've been following the Raiders, that shouldn't surprise you. He was one of my biggest winners in minicamp. He was one of my biggest winners at OTAs, if not the biggest winner. And he just continues to show that he is not only a good player and probably deserves to be drafted athletically, he's also got the mental aspect side of it. He's taken advantage of the fact that Tyree Wilson isn't out there on the field. And is he ever going to take time away from Tyree? No, of course not. But I do think for a lot of these UDF players, the way that they end up making the roster is certain guys are banged up, and you get your opportunity. And when you get your opportunity, you don't let that go by. You have veterans like Chandler Jones praising him, and the coaching staff that I talk to, they are really excited about his ability because they also want players that are leaders. Like, they don't want, if they're going to keep a UDFA, it's not because he's an incredible athlete. He's not only got to be an incredible athlete, he's got to be an incredible person. And Adam Plant Jr. is an unbelievable young man, and that's why he's a big-time winner. All right, Maxx Crosby, he's a winner. He's one of the best in the biz. He is your captain this season. He is the face of the franchise, and he just shows that he's just not blockable. The final winners that I have here, and I'm going to put them together, and it's kind of funny because one of the players I've been really, really trying to keep an eye on this entire offseason was Trevon Merrick, and I was trying to see, all right, how's he developing in year 3? And one of my sources, I texted him, I said, well, what's up with Merrick? And he flat out told me, you can't talk about Merrick without Marcus Epps. And he literally put in quotes, man, they're like M&Ms to me right now because they're just always together. They're bonding really well, and they're building that chemistry that you're looking for in your starting strong safety and your starting free safety, right? Like Epps was on the Philadelphia Eagles last year. He led that team in snaps played. He was on a Super Bowl caliber roster. When you add a player like that that has the mentality and the mental toughness that Epps has, that's what Merrick needs. Merrick has all the talent in the world, right? He should have been drafted in round 1. He was the best defensive back safety coming out of TCU in 2021. It's just he went from a Gus Bradley defense to a Patrick Graham defense and lost some of that confidence and swagger. Epps is building that back up, and from what I understand, that duo right now, it looks really freaking good in camp, which makes me a extremely happy camper. All right, before I get to my losers here on the training camp side from defense, I always want you guys to know that there's a lot of amazing content creators out there, and last night I had dinner with Graff, had dinner with his wife, got to sit down and meet some really cool people, some Raider fans that watch both of our shows, and I just want y'all to know that last night, man, we talked about y'all for probably 2-3 hours of just the crazy stories left and right of why we do what we do. But the community that we have been able to build here on YouTube, social media, yeah, there's a few knuckleheads out there, but that's just what life is. We appreciate all of y'all, and if you haven't already, go reach out to Graff and just tell him, hey, man, I appreciate the work you put in, because those messages, I'm telling y'all, especially when the season and the content creating side of it is slow in July, those messages go a long way. So from the bottom of my heart, and I don't want to speak for Graff because I don't know if anyone can speak for Graff besides him, but we thank you guys very, very much. All right, let's get into some of these losers now from the defensive side. And kind of like what I said about the losers on offense, you don't really get too many reports about the loser side because it's the offseason and there's no reason to do that. But a loser that I'm going to throw up here is John Jenkins, and it wasn't confirmed to me, but there was a report that came out that Rob Ryan beat somebody, running the lap. I was told that it was John Jenkins, I think, is the exact text message that I received. He's up there in age. He's 34 years old, and from what I understand, this Raiders team, they like what Jenkins brings. However, they're probably going to go in a younger direction at the defensive tackle position. So because of that, I am going to make him a loser. Another loser here that I'm going to throw out is Darian Butler at linebacker. Haven't gotten too many updates from the people that I talked to at the whole linebacker position, and maybe that's because most of the concentration on training camp is on the quarterbacks. I know a lot of concentration is on the cornerbacks, and that's kind of where a lot of my people are directing me right now, and linebacker has been a somewhat ignored position. But the reason why I'm going to say Darian Butler is because I know Drake Thomas continues to show that he's a solid player. I know that the organization is hyped up once in a while around Luke Masterson. He continues to show a lot more versatility. But Butler was a player that had some opportunities last season, and I just don't think he's going to have them this upcoming season. It's nothing that he's done wrong. I haven't heard a bad report about Butler, but I have heard good things about people that are going to be battling for him for certain positions, and because of that, I'm going to make Butler a loser. The final loser here is Tyler Hall, and it's literally just what I said about Butler. It's not that Hall hasn't done anything or Hall's not practicing well. It's just, I mentioned that Amik Robertson is working right now as a starting slot, and the coaching staff is really impressed with him. The staff also loves Sam Webb a lot, and he has been really good. He had the first interception in training camp this year. Bennett's impressing. You have Marcus Peters, so right now it's you're going to keep Marcus Peters, you're going to keep Jakorian Bennett, you're going to keep Duke Shelley, you're going to keep Nate Hobbs, you're going to keep Brandon Faison, who's working on the outside, and the money dictates that. Well, now are you going to keep Tyler Hall, David Long Jr., Amik Robertson, Sam Webb? They're all battling it out, and I know that the Raiders brought back Hall, and I know that they like Hall, but I also know that they want to have results right away, and yeah, they might roll the dice, and they might go a different direction. If you would have told me 2 months ago that Hall wasn't going to be making this roster, I might have rolled my eyes at you a little bit. I'm not saying that he's not going to make it, but he's way more of a bubble candidate than I think a lot of people want to actually say. All right, y'all, that's all the time we got for today. Much love to everyone tuning in, and hope you enjoy your Sunday. Jeremy Chuggs and I are going to be back, or it's not Chuggs. I'll be back on Tuesday. He's on vacation. You guys will get 2 videos going out tomorrow. And even though that the Raiders are off today, and even though I'm off today, I hope that's why you guys take a second to watch this video. And that's why you should subscribe to the Raiders Report. No days off around here. Appreciate all y'all. Go Raiders, and enjoy your day. All right, y'all, if you're looking for more videos like you just watched, you can click the subscribe button right here. Videos around the silver and black literally every single day for free. If you liked what you saw and you want more videos with graphics, because that's what we do, you can go click this button right here. And then if you want even more Raiders content, because that didn't quite settle your fix, go click this button right here. Die Hard Raider fans, I'm waiting for you. Click that sub.